Welcome to Demo Day, where young innovators take the stage and showcase real-world projects to a global audience. At WEquil School, students learn to become innovators, teaching each other each week through their creations. WEquil App has thousands of novel and useful projects born out of our students' strengths, interests, and passions. But Demo Day is more than just a presentation. It's a celebration of innovation, collaboration, and the power of young minds. Join us on this incredible journey of inspiration as we witness the next generation of problem solvers and leaders. From Harvard professors to industry experts, our demo days attract incredible guest speakers who share their knowledge and ignite curiosity. Whether you're a young innovator looking to showcase your creations or a family seeking an extraordinary learning experience, Demo Day is here for you. Together, let's create a world where young minds flourish, ideas come to life, and innovation knows no boundaries. Join us for an unforgettable journey of learning, growth, and discovery. Welcome to Demo Day.
So I wrote this project about aliens and are we like alone in this universe? So let's get to learn about it. I will just like give a short summary instead of like explaining all of the topics. Okay. So yeah. So to first say we need to get to know what aliens are, right? For going forward. So basically aliens are creature from other planets, and some people think they are real, while others think they are just from movies. Because if you see movies, there are like lots of fiction thing they show. For example, the movie we watched, Cowboys in Cowboys something.
Cowboys and Indians is inspired by true events. Just so we're clear.
Yeah. So the universe is massive with lots of galaxies as stars. So like it's hard to believe we are the only ones here, right? Scientists like use telescopes to look for signals of aliens, but it's not easy because space is huge. They haven't found haven't like found any of the planets like Earth near like our galaxy or something, but there are which is known as like habitable planets. Yeah, which could have like symptoms of life, but we couldn't like scientists also like couldn't find that there are life, but we haven't have the like the solid proof yet. Some people say they have seen UFOs, but those sightings might be mistakes or something else. I think it's both exciting and scary to imagine aliens. It will be awesome to meet them and learn about their lives. But we don't know if they are like friendly or dangerous, because in movies we keep seeing like them as dangerous, and they have like high intelligence but acting like monkeys. Yeah. Uh, but we don't know if they are friendly or dangerous, right? We'll keep looking, and maybe one day we'll get a message from space or meet aliens. That will be super cool, yeah. So we don't have all the answers, but I believe there's a good chance aliens exist. Until then, we can dream and imagine what they might be like. Yeah, and watch movies of it. Yeah.
Round of
Yeah.
applause.
Thanks.
We actually had a discussion on Twitter that Abhinav was helping to host. Well, kind of. I mean, he's looked into this more than anybody else. Are you guys familiar? Are you kids familiar with the news that came out recently about aliens? All right. Oh, look at Audie's face. All right. Well, Chloe, Isla, have you ever heard me talk about aliens? Yeah, you could
your
sit down.
article on the aliens.
Yeah, you
I
could.
thought
You go ahead. Go ahead, Chloe.
I read your article on the aliens.
What did you read?
Hang on, let me check.
Sure. While you pull that up, I'll share a little bit. I wrote a project. I won't get into it because I'm too old. But just to give people.
Oh yeah, I read
Go
your
ahead.
project, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. What are projects on aliens?
Well, for a long time, even the term conspiracy theory was actually driven by, in part by UFOs and various people saying that they had seen aliens. And so, but just in the news recently, some very high profile people, not high profile, sorry, very high up in the government people have come forth saying that there actually is a government organization that has taken control of alien spacecraft and the pilots, dead pilots. And this was like big news. And some very serious people, including Paul Graham, who is somebody that he's a leader of a startup incubator, a lot of reputable people, I'll just say, were talking about it. Now, I have since personally come to the view that I still am not convinced that this is actually the case, but Abhinav was the first person to come to me saying he was actually very interested in this stuff. And shortly after he wrote his About Me article talking about his interest in this subject, this became big time news. And I was like, whoa, Abhinav, wow, I should have been paying more attention. So I think it's a good question. And since we have fewer people, I figure we could just have a little chat about, views on, extraterrestrial life. So if anybody would like to share a view about that, any at all, also feel free to comment on Abhinav's project as well. That was very well written myself. Any thoughts? Go ahead, Isla.
I agree that it's kind of hard to believe that we're like the only ones in space because it's like huge, right? Like we don't even know how big it is. We're not certain how big it is. So I do think it's like seems highly unlikely that we're the only life in all of space. So I do think that they exist, but it's just like it's not, I don't know if we're ever going to find them.
I see Adi's got a comment. Go ahead, Adi.
My mom has a question, so
Can I ask a question, Abhinav?
Mm-hmm.
Abhinav, have you come across the Mahabharata and Ramayana by any chance?
Yeah, I also explained a bit to Sume.
Wow, amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
So, you remember the mention of Vimanas flying in the air,
Yeah,
Ravana coming in this flying chariot to kidnap Sita, right?
yeah.
Or
save, not kidnap.
no, Ravana came to
Oh,
kidnap,
Ravan.
not to save. And about these wars, right, that used to happen
Mm-hmm.
between people, like they would throw one arrow from here and it would do something and then hit the other person, all
Mm-hmm.
the things. So do you think, of course these are from mythology, but
Mm-hmm.
there is a mention of Vimana coming and landing,
Yeah.
and even the concept of God in India they come from somewhere else, right? They have a
Yeah.
different uh, planet or galaxy, wherever they come from somewhere else. So I was reading the other day, I don't know if you've come across Devdutt Patnaik. He writes interesting things about mythology, and he mentions about all these extraterrestrial things already existing in the olden Vedic texts, where there is a mention. So do you think that everything is related somewhere? Because
Uh, mhm.
how are people, so many years before, writing about this already? And yes, there is some archaeologist from Chhattisgarh has written about it, that there is they have found evidence of cave paintings where these space ships are drawn. I don't know if you have come across this. What do you think of all this?
I think there might be, but if you say about like the related, I think there are lots of things. For example, if you say about Ramayana, there is Ram Setu as well connected to from India to Sri Lanka. So I just think it's real, but yeah, I think it's connected and real, but I'm not sure yet because it can be made by like someone else or something. It might be a story, just a fiction story. But till now, I think it's real by like yeah, that's what I think.
Hmm.
Because everything you see, like something is correlated. For example, the stones which floats in the water in the Ram Setu is also like mentioned in other things like the Ramayana and everything. And there is also like a particular age that mentioned like this Ram Setu has like created back then, like 5,000 years ago or that. So I think it might be real, but I'm not sure.
Hmm.
You believe, right? So you know, you think, and so you believe. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, kind of, but you can say 60-50.
Hmm. Okay. So this is one of this topic is one that is a little bit controversial to even have in a school, although I don't know, we've kind of like wondered whether or not we're even a school, to be honest. Setting. Did you guys know that? Would you are you kids aware that it's somewhat controversial to be talking about UFOs and aliens in a school context? I just want to make sure that you kids have perspective on this because it's one of those things that adults might know, but you kids, I mean, yeah, just haven't been alive as long. Are you aware of that? Nicole, what would you say? Nicole, I could actually really use your help on this one. How do we communicate to these young people the context so that they can understand the nature of how adults think about these topics and why they might be a little bit concerned about kids talking about aliens and UFOs. You know what I mean? Oh, I think you're on mute.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think, can you
Yeah. You guys did a great
your
job. You did it.
can you turn down your
Here, I'll leave computer audio.
no. Okay. Sorry, I'm so distracted, but
It's tough.
so there
I
are
know.
a couple of things, right? So controversial issues like this, it introduces concepts around critical thinking and asking a lot of questions and where are you getting your source data, and even other things like um like there are sometimes some political things, and and I don't mean necessarily political like government, but like political within the education system. And so I think what's really concerning for a lot of parents is that when this type of stuff is talked about in the schools, that kids who are not taught these critical thinking skills are overly influenced by these things, right? And so there's not enough of parent involvement or the critical thinking. And it's really fun to explore this stuff, right? And I think there's sometimes like parents get so nervous because they don't talk about these issues with their own kids at the dinner table or something like that, and so they get really nervous about other people like feeding their kids information. But I think that's part of it.
I totally agree with that. Really, really good stuff. So like we did a Twitter space on this, and guess what? More people were showing up. Huh? Yeah, it's like, oh, you're talking about aliens? Wow, it's fascinating, right? And so one thing that I feel like, Abhinav, you don't got to do this because this is a kid-led school, but if any of you want to write a project about conspiracy theories and about kind of what are the root causes, what are the principles, if we're going to use first principle thinking and science to better understand attention, what are the kinds of signs, risk factors that might tip you off to being concerned and want to elevate that risk radar of, wait a minute, this might be one of those things that just like hijacks the brain and makes people start to get super excited. I know. This is important. It's okay. We got the like this is the 18. This is Top Gun right here.
Yeah,
We-
I just want to make sure we
we-
get to everybody.
I know we might go over a little bit, but this is critical. This is really, really important, kids and adults, because it's like the adults too that get all sucked up into this stuff. And that doesn't mean that they're wrong. I think that's one of the reasons why like this week I took an interest. No, it's okay. I took an interest in UFOs and aliens because you've got somebody running for president who's tweeting about how he thinks that this is credible. And people that I respect talking about how this is something I need to pay attention to, right? I wasn't before, but I was this week. I'm not convinced, but the point is that I had the mental models, the tools to think about whether or not this is something I should be concerned as something that like grabs my attention. So if anybody wants to join me on that project this coming week, I want to do it. I think it's really, really important. I think it's critical to WEquil School that kids be armed with mental models, tools, a roadmap for navigating what types of concepts can just grab public attention, including adults big time, so that they stop thinking clearly. Yeah. So anyway, I'll any other comments on his project, and then we can move on. I know Sumi is concerned about time and I talk too much, but
I'll just make one more point, which is that one of the things that Chloe, her dad, and I talk about, can you turn that? Is that you can look for, there are signals out there, right? So there are some signals where if somebody says something controversial and they're like viciously attacked, right? In the media or like other things like that, that's probably a clue of like, to ask a bunch of questions. Like, why is that person, why are they attacking that person? They're putting out an opinion. They're putting out some additional data and additional research. You can go ahead and make an assessment on your own about whether you want to follow that thread or believe that person or whatever. But it's really interesting to consider like how people are threatened by new data and or alternate interpretations of data and things like that. So that's kind of that's one thing that, is kind of an interesting trigger to look out for and explore a little bit more.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
It's this is big stuff, kids. It's got adults worried, which means it's really important, and we're not going to hide you from it. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to talk to you, and we're going to think about ways we can help to make this help educate you, because it's a challenging world. It's a complex world. Got to know how to navigate it. We're going to help build you the maps, tools, show you the way. So yeah. Thank you, Abhinav, for starting this conversation. I think it's a really, really great way. It's perfect timing for you to jump in here. You just told me earlier that I wrote a project about UFO. I'm like, perfect, great, fantastic. let's talk about it. But let's go ahead and move on to the next project. Who wants to go next?
Me?
Everybody?
You know you're dealing with the A team when they're all like,
Yeah.
all right. I have no idea. Isla, you decide who's next.